Well, if you're both amateurs and you don't sing that well, then whoever views the program wouldn't appreciate how you sound.
No, we're
we're
saying
not
we are
singing.
not going to sing, but we want you to sing.
No, thank you.
Hello, everyone. We're here with Suzanne celebrating her 71st birthday.
Wow.
And that's quite an achievement, Suzanne. All those years of hard work. So, happy birthday! And we're gonna let you sing because we're not good singers, but you are. We're gonna join in.
I'd rather you didn't because at my workplace, when it's someone's birthday, the workers try to sing happy birthday, but when they start, they're all in a multiplicity of keys, and they sound just awful. I'm spoiled because I always had to be right on key and on pitch from years of the refined singing.
So we're complete amateurs. So we're gonna let you sing the happy birthday song because we're terrible. So, go ahead.
Well, should I just blow out the candle now?
Yes. All right. So, happy birthday song. Well, I know that cheesecake got a little bit of damage from transportation, so it doesn't look as nice as it was when they cut it. But I know that's your favorite, so we got your plain cheesecake.
So
would you sing for us? Mm-hmm. Or for you?
Yeah. I've always gone for plain cheesecake. Yeah, sometimes when my family would have me make a cheesecake for Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners, I would make it more festive by tinting the batter appropriate colors.
Mm-hmm. But this is just a plain for your birthday occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to sing happy birthday?
No, thank you.
Are you not going to sing for us?
No, thank you.
All right. So we're not singing because we're really terrible singers, but you don't want to sing because of what? It's your birthday, so you want to sing for yourself?
It wouldn't sound good on the air.
Why?
Well, if you're both amateurs and you don't sing that well, then whoever views the program wouldn't appreciate how you sound.
No, we're saying
not
we are
singing.
not going to sing, but we want you to sing.
No, thank you.
No. Okay. And why wouldn't you sing? You usually like to sing, so I'm surprised you said you don't want to sing.
Well, it's sort of an unwritten law that the honoree shouldn't sing the song himself or herself. It has to be sung by other people to the honoree.
Okay, I knew there was a reason for it. But anyway, happy birthday,
yeah.
Suzanne.
Happy
so
birthday.
We can say
Thank
happy
you.
birthday even though we're not singing it. So in addition to, I'll put that away. And then you can eat it later because you don't want to eat while we're live. I'll put it right there. And then first, there's a card for you. You might want to show the audience once you see. Of course, it's going to be something. So.
Oh, yeah.
I always go for greeting cards that have kitty cats on them.
Yeah, so maybe just point it out.
I
a little
just
bit
love
like
cats.
this, so people can see the kitty cats that you like. Every card, this Suzanne gets has to have cats.
Cats and hats.
And then
Oh yeah,
this took
the cat in the hat.
this took a trip to 3 different stores, just so you know.
I know. I can see what's stuck inside. From the whole kitten caboodle, it says.
That's us.
Yes. We'll change the name of the podcast. The Kidney Blue.
I like that.
Hooray! Yeah. Did you say you got 16
I
yards?
believe 15 or 16 yards.
Well,
That's all they had. They didn't have any more, so I got everything they had.
Okay.
That's your birthday present. Don't worry.
Are you sure you don't want me to reimburse you?
No. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, these are going. They're 4mm fused white pearls. For anybody who wonders what these are, and I'm using them on an extra special underdog costume that I'll be wearing next year to mark his 60th anniversary.
Okay, so we'll move the bag out of the way, because that's going to make noise. Move this out of the way so we don't see that. And do you want to tell us the importance of birthdays real quick before we get into serious topic? Like, why birthdays important?
Excuse me?
Why are birthdays important?
Well, you like to keep a track of anyone's age. Probably the most magical years are children gradually growing up, and then the 16th birthday, at least for girls, is sort of an indication that they're almost grown up. 21, you're supposedly officially an adult. And then from there, any multiple of 5 or 10 is considered extra important. Well, 71 wouldn't be considered an extra special number.
Right, that's not the one. But what's interesting, maybe to the audience, but certainly to me, is over the years, as you're performing and doing your parades and those kind of performances, and it's physical, because you have to dance, you have to move. How did you adjust your performance, let's say, or movements over the years as you're getting older, as we're all getting older? We're kind of forced to adjust certain things, right?
Well, most of the time, in the parades I've been over the last few years, I've simply walked and made gestures, or sometimes I've stood still and rotated on 2 feet. I can't do a camel spin anymore. I can't jump, and I can't walk on tiptoe anymore. So when I spin around, I have to use both feet sitting flat.
Okay.
A bit more subtle. Subtle movements instead of...
Is that something that, as a performer, is this something that concerns you or bothers you, or you accept aging process as just natural thing?
Well, the stuff about mostly just walking comes primarily from whatever costume I'm wearing. If it represents a character or creates a theme, then I have to keep my movements authentic.
Okay, but I was more interested in does the process of getting less physically able bother you on some level, or you just accept it?
It does make me worry. I wonder how much longer I have to go on, or how long would it be before committees and spectators would decide I should quit.
Okay, but why would they make you quit?
The old problem of age discrimination.
So you feel if you're not able to do it at a certain level, they would just ask you not to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the fear of retirement, I guess?
Yes.
Okay, how would that affect you if if you couldn't perform anymore?
Well, that also brings up the point of I said about how numbers that are multiples of 10 are considered extra important. Every time I completed another decade and started it on the numbers, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, whatever, I was apprehensive. Am I going to be beset by illnesses, diseases, or terrible accidents, or other misfortunes that might force me to stop performing?
And how would that make you feel?
I would feel awful, because then I wouldn't have anything to look forward to in which I can put myself on display and make use of certain abilities that God gave me.
And one of your things is also making costumes, right? Outfits. Would you ever, this is hypothetical, but if you couldn't do it yourself anymore, would you make costume for somebody else? Would you pass it on to somebody else?
There have been only a handful of times throughout my life that I made costumes for other people, and I can't expect them to rise to the occasion, have me make costumes for them and now, simply because I have fewer opportunities now than when I was in my 50s. And I seriously doubt that anybody would be interested enough to have me make a costume for him or her in all my glory, because how often would the wearer use the costume?
That's true, but maybe if there's somebody out there who's interested in becoming a protege, I guess.
Yeah, now's the time to
maybe that's
apprentice.
the time. Yeah, apprentice. Yeah, maybe there's some young person who's interested in doing it. They can learn from it. Now we have the phone calls, so we'll let that go, I guess. So if there is somebody out there who might be interested in becoming a protege or apprentice, would you be willing to pass on your knowledge to somebody younger as far as making the costumes and doing all this elaborate sewing?
I wouldn't be able to teach anybody all the skills in one day or in just a few sessions. It would be like any school course. There's a lot to learn over an extended period of time.
I would imagine it's something that would take a longer time.
Yeah, but any dedicated apprentice would, probably enjoy taking on and learning all the skills they need to.
Yeah, it would be a long-term process to learn all this. So what is the outfit you're wearing today?
Excuse me?
What is the outfit that you're wearing today?
Well, I purposely chose yellow because it's my favorite color and because today's a special day for me. If I were doing a performance, it would be something joyous to happy music. Well, these shorter costumes always have trunks underneath, shorts.
Mm-hmm. Is there a name for this?
No.
No, so it's not like a Sunshine Susie or anything like that?
And I have a yellow mermaid costume in which I call myself Susie the Summer Sunshine Mermaid. Mm-hmm. But I haven't worn it in quite some time.
Okay, but this is not it. This isn't it.
Yeah.
Well, anything else that we can mention about birthdays, or maybe serious issues that you're thinking about? You think you'll be doing this in your 80s, or?
I hope I can live through at least 80 and still have enough stamina to do some moderate performances, not really strenuous ones, but enough to suit the mood of the occasion, whatever event I'm in. I say 80 because, well, the year that I turn 79 is an extremely important landmark for a historical character.
Which is?
Prince Vlad.
Okay, so what is in 8 years? What are we celebrating then?
Well, right now it's 2023. In 8 years it'll be 2031, and it'll be Vlad the Impaler, alias Dracula's 600th birthday.
Wow.
Okay, so the hope is that you make it to that point and you perform at
Yes.
79.
Yes, very much.
Okay. Well, I hope we make it another 9 years.
Yeah.
and we can be there to see you do it.
Hmm?
I said we hope to make it as well, so we can come and see you do it. Do you ever think about, let's say, professional athletes who retire and they have to give that up? Is that how you compare this to?
A lot of professional athletes I've heard about retire in their 30s or 40s, and then they still have a lot of life ahead of them in which they just sit back and vegetate, or they try to keep their careers going by appearing in local events, or sometimes they go on tour just to make personal appearances or to give autographs.
Well, but because they can't play anymore, they have to do other things. So would you, if you couldn't perform, would you go to maybe conventions and sign autographs?
No, I've had it with conventions. I explained all that in a previous session.
You could open a museum of the costumes you've created.
Well, actually,
a museum.
Her pieces are in Baltimore.
Yeah.
What's the name of that museum in Baltimore? Do you have a couple of dresses?
What
costumes?
Museum in Baltimore are you in?
I forget the name. It is in Baltimore. I did give away some of my costumes to it.
So maybe you can, if they're willing to take on your collection, let's say in your will, when that time comes, hopefully many, many, many years from now, you can leave that to a museum or some kind of a place that can take care of it. Because you have a lot of beautiful costumes. Did you think what the future holds?
It's a shame I don't have a myriad of events to make use of all of them.
That is true. But did you ever think of the future, like in 20 years and 30 years? Let's say you make it to 100. What would you do with all the costumes?
I'd have to give them away. I could no longer keep them. I just don't know to what organizations or entities I would leave them.
Well, that's certainly something that we should probably think about. And if anyone in the audience knows of a museum, or maybe there's a performing arts center, or somebody can appreciate storage of this one time, hopefully in the long distant future. But it's probably a good idea to get prepared for those things and think about when you're 71, don't wait till you're 100 and then stuff happens. Because you'd be ashamed to lose all those outfits. People should see what you created.
I wouldn't know the first party to contact.
Well, that's what we're asking people watching. If somebody has suggestions about art organizations, or maybe there's some costume making place. I don't know either. I'm not in that.
No, but I've seen
displays,
collections of famous movie outfits and costumes that have been traveling around. So, there could be an organization that would do that for yours.
Well,
maybe
I
Phil
know
knows somebody.
I know some of my best known character costumes. I wouldn't want to see them just tossed away and turned to dust. I'd want them on exhibition for as long as time lasts.
Yeah.
What's the biggest pearl of wisdom, let's say, that you learned from the aging process? Is there something now that you can tell younger Suzanne when she was 20, let's say?
I've learned various sewing and decorative techniques over time, so that my costumes reflect how the more I learned, the more variety I used in either the style of the costume or the decorations.
But is there any practical advice as a performing artist who's now turning 71? If you can go back in time, what kind of advice would you give?
Not like technical knowledge, just like
would you tell younger Suzanne, don't go on Howard Stern's show?
I didn't understand you.
Okay, if you can go back in time and tell your younger self something when you were 20 that you learned now at 71, is there something like that? Would you go back and tell younger Suzanne 50 years ago, don't do the Howard Stern show, or don't do this, or don't do that, or maybe do this or that? Is there any practical advice?
Well, would my younger self know that this other person is my older self?
Yes, and they would trust you implicitly.
They would trust your advice. If you could, what would you say?
Cause see, when you first mature, you resent a lot of advice forced upon you by previous generations. You think, I want to find out for myself and not have all these people forcing knowledge or awareness down my throat.
Oh, think of it this way. Your past self comes to the future to ask you for advice. They say, should I do this or that? What are they asking about?
I would say what interests do you have in mind right now? Maybe that'll help me advise you. What are you interested in now? How do you go about it? And then when my younger self told me, then I'd say, I did that a lot in the 40s or in the year 1989. I toured strenuously in conjunction with Underdog's 25th anniversary.
So would you advise them to do more performances, less performances, different performances?
I would advise her. I would say to look around. Well, what I did anyway. Be aware of what's available. Get in touch with the right people and present your information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So looking back at all these years of performing, what do you think was the biggest mistake you made that you wish you didn't do?
Becoming involved with Howard Stern.
Okay, so you think that was the biggest mistake. You don't see any positives out of that interaction?
Even though he's supposedly reformed, there are still some people who fling the original insults and tirades at me when they see me in performance.
Okay, so the negatives outweigh the positives in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you think was the best thing you did in all these years of performing?
Well, sometimes I wore newly made costume to some of the conventions I went to, and I was appreciated for the workmanship. I know I know one of the best performances I ever gave, but it was sadly under-attended, was dancing the Dracula archives in the presence of the historians who had rediscovered his real story. When I was finished my program, I called them up to come on stage and take their bows with me.
So you feel that's the highlight of your career?
Well, one of the highlights.
Wow. Is there another one?
Last fall in Atlantic City, Scott Cronick had me do a stage show in one of the Atlantic City nightclubs. Now that too was a very conscientious performance, but it was under-attended.
All right. So you want to add anything to the birthday or whatever discussion we're having? Age, career, highlights, anything we didn't cover?
I've been a loner all my life. I said in the stuff about conventions how the head of Creation Conventions said that if I wanted to put on a group performance, I had to have a subject for which there was a market. I had to make a videotape, and the committee had to approve the videotape. I couldn't possibly get anybody to cooperate with me in making a videotape.
Well, see, we would have done it, but we didn't know you back then.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. And were you always a loner by choice, or was that something that was forced upon you?
I don't quite understand.
Were you a loner by choice, like it's your personality, or was something that was forced upon you?
It was forced upon me because no one would cooperate with me, or I would be stifled by someone in authority. I tried my best to sell myself to other people, but they turned me down.
Let's see. All right. Well, anyway, we shouldn't probably talk about depressing subjects. We should enjoy your birthday, enjoy the cheesecake. Hopefully the beads come in handy. We're going to show the progress. And
Can't wait to see the final
you can
product.
see some of them here.
Well, Well, last time you were here, you took close-ups of some of the decorative details of the cape. I can show you some of the work I've done on the suit.
Yes, so we're gonna take some pictures of that afterwards. So
Yes.
Anyway, happy birthday, Suzanne. I
Yeah.
hope it's a great one, and we hope for at least 30 some more.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I don't become bogged down by physical handicaps or senility.
Yes.
Well,
We'll add
let's-
that postscript.
Well, let's hope not, and let's hope that we're around for some 30 years, so we can still enjoy your performances and your discussions. So thank you again, and we'll talk about a different topic in a little bit.